So, crisis with your mental health or emotional health or physical health, which might lead to any of the other two. What works? What can you do? Well, I can only speak for myself, and I'm making this particular video not because I think I've got it nailed or what I do helps me avoid that kind of stuff, because it's not the case. Sometimes that can be true, but so you get loads of these videos and loads of people doing what I do, putting these videos on and having like a health and well-being thing, or being a coach or a guru, and that's alright, you know, there's no judgment there. People do what they think they can do and give service the way they can, and so I'm directing this back at myself really for just a minute, which is just a bit of an explanation from where I'm coming from, and it's not to be a guru or I can help you or that. There is a part to it, but it's only always based on my own struggles, my own difficulties, which arise when they arise, not just a thing of the past. I listened to a podcast yesterday, one by John Vervaeke, his series Awakening from the Meaning Crisis, and there's about 50 parts to it, but number 19 is about Saint Augustine and Thomas Aquinas. And I've come across Saint Augustine before in various other philosophical endeavours, and he actually wrote the first autobiography. I'll tell you why I'm saying all this now, but he actually wrote the first, what you class as the first autobiography, called Confessions. So what he done for the first time was, see, you'd had like a couple of thousand years of posturing, working out, reasoning, philosophising by loads and loads of great people and spiritual figures about this central question of, you know, what do we do with human existence and the problems that brings, the existential dilemmas, the suffering and the confusion. So we'd had lots of people up until then trying to figure all that out. He was the first one that wrote Confessions, which was, he drew together a lot of the previous information and the main modes of thought from like Plato and Plotinus and a couple of others, things that seemed to be at odds, and he brought them together in a grand scheme. But not only that, what he added to it for the first time in history was a therapeutic element, because he included in it his own experiences and his own downfalls, his own difficulties and struggles. So it was a way of saying, okay, look, here's all the great stuff from before. How can that actually be applied in life? And he used himself as the example, and he put down all of his failings, as you say, all the things he struggled with, and presented it in that way. And it was the first time that was ever done. So in a way, I'm not saying I'm anything like Saint Augustine, but I just mean just setting the record straight. Like, all I'm doing with these videos is I've had a look at some stuff, it makes sense to me, it's helped me, I've seen it help others, so it's bringing it, it's showing it. And that's all it is. And along the way there'll continue to be the same struggles that pulled me in to that work, to being curious or being desperate for help and having to implement certain things. So that's just setting that record straight for a bit. But yeah, the crisis, what do you do? So as I say, for me, and recently it's been difficult, really difficult time. Recently, one reason or another, long-term things all sort of conspiring and amalgamating into something that's very real. Things like, just like, I don't know, long-term anxiety problems, or periods, cycles of time coming to an end in terms of living conditions and employment and ways of getting through and making money, and none of that's in major jeopardy, but it's just been an immense period of change, and then there's also a personal commitment just to the kinds of work that keep me on track, which involve a lot of self-inquiry, digging up all my history and my past and traumatic episodes and whatever it is that's had an impact on me over the years, and then as well as that, illness this year, with the main thing that's been going around, the COVID, and yeah, that's how that's affected me physically, mentally. So all of those things sort of conspire, and then on top of that, you've got, now and again you let yourself go, and the stimulants like coffee and things in your diet that shouldn't be there as much as what they have been anyway, and a few little drinks here and there, you know, a little time away, enjoying yourself, and it all just mounts up. For me personally, that's the mix anyway, and so difficult times recently with some things. So what works? Because yeah, at times it's out of desperation, and just a word on that as well, what works, and about this whole dynamic. Again, let's be sensible about spiritual work or religious work or whatever you want to call it. I hear a lot of criticism of it and these kinds of people, that, you know, it only becomes relevant when people are down and they turn to stuff when they're at their lowest ebb, but otherwise it's unnecessary. That's sort of the point, really. It's what helps us when, well, that's the question, what helps us when we suffer? It's a very general question, I know, and it's not just spirituality or religion or that stuff. There's loads of things, little things, practical things that can help. But mainly for me, it's turning to the foundations that I've built, and there's loads and loads of little things that I can do and implement, which I'll talk about. But what it all ultimately then results in, if it's sort of applied successfully, it's like the apex of all the work and the effort is trust. Now you could call it faith. So what's that? It's not a thought, a way of thinking. It's a way of being. It's more embodied. It's an approach. And well, yeah, actually the feelings that come from feeling like you can trust or have faith in what? It doesn't matter. Nothing. Just having it. Yeah, so the feelings that come from that for me is actually it's physical sensations. It's an actual change in my bodily state, which is, yeah, it's undeniable. But what comes also with struggle and difficulty and suffering, when I look on it and I really dig and I really go deep down, this might just be for me, because it's related to anxiety. And what's anxiety related to? Fear. And what's fear the opposite of? Trust. Yeah, underneath all that is a lack of trust, a lack of understanding that I and things are going to be okay. I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who has that. Certainly when I look into, as I say, all the different things that help towards that, there's whole swathes of people that feel that, and over not just place in terms of locality but time, and that is the human story, the existential dread, the confusion, the sense of disconnection, the loss of that, which results in a lack of feeling okay, and a lack of faith in just how things are generally and how things will be. So yeah, I'm not the only one, I don't think. I think there'd be more people if the pain of that realisation didn't lead so many people to medicate on all kinds of different things that push that pain down and make it go away, and make it just like push it out of the picture. But that's the thing, it never goes out of the picture, and the only way for me to be able to address that recently is do the worst thing, what seems like the worst thing, which is turn into it, have a look at it and face it, what's going on. And that's hard, and it's been hard, because my natural instinct every moment of the day is to turn away from it. It's too painful. What's going on? Why am I feeling like this? Let's self-medicate, let's think about something else, let's distract myself. But luckily I can turn into it with 15-20 years now of foundations with things that can help me, and they range from understanding programs for understanding anxiety, spiritual modalities such as realization that we're not our thoughts, okay, modalities within embodiment in terms of feeling physically the energetic sensations of whatever it is, pain, suffering, anxiety, fear, all these different things, but all of them combined, plus many more, and also the morning practice, taking some time to check in every morning, getting out in nature, all of the necessary things with diet and lowering the stimulants and eating well, all of these things all combine on the opposite end of the spectrum to give or to make more visible the platform of trust. And when I feel like I can trust or I've got faith, there's no room for anxiety, there's no room for it there. And one other thing that helps is, ironically, coming out of abstract thought, which is what these videos are, abstractions really, and little silly videos posted on an internet site, but there we go, that's what I'm working with. But coming out of that and coming into the present moment and becoming aware and alive to everything that your consciousness can interact with without thought being there to try and interpret it. Okay, these are big things spoken of by great people at length, which I'm trying to fit into a sentence or two. But these are all the different things that help. So I think I've gone on enough there. Talked a little bit about myself more in this video, but that is with good reason, as I say, because I too have the difficulties and the struggles, and it's worth saying that in my book, rather than putting myself on a platform. So I'll leave you with that. and see you again.